Greetings and welcome to TechHelp Quick Queries number 3, brought to you by Access Learning Zone. My name is Richard Rost. The Quick Queries videos are to answer all of the tons of questions that I get every week that don't necessarily merit their own video, or I've maybe covered them kind of before, or their follow-ups, or whatever. Very informal, just to have fun. Not everything has to be a formal video. I like to goof around from time to time, too. But if you want to learn a little bit more about Access, get your Access fix in there. You might learn a thing or two. Before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout-out to WinHost. I ended up switching internet providers. I've been with GoDaddy for, 11 years or so. And they've just been slowly getting worse and worse and worse over the last couple of years. And I had a problem. My site went down. And their tech support has become increasingly difficult to work with. Very unhappy with them. I feel like I'm talking to people who have no idea how the internet works, let alone they shouldn't be working in tech support. I'm having to explain things to them about their job, which, come on. I've been a loyal customer for over 11 years. I've dealt with slowdowns and problems with my site, and I've had enough. So I switched over to WinHost. They've been very helpful in getting me up and running. This is not a paid advertisement, by the way. I only endorse when I'm really, really happy with something. But I just wanted to give a shout out to WinHost. If you are looking for a good internet provider, been with them for almost a month now, and no problems whatsoever. Everything's running smooth. My site's running a whole lot faster. GoDaddy was trying to tell me that my SQL server was I was crashing their server. No, I moved the same exact website over to WinHost, and everything's running perfectly. It's not my coding. I'm a database expert. I'm not crashing your SQL server. I'm sorry. My code is solid. So, if you want to read the whole story, it's on my website. I'll put a link down below in the link section. First question today comes from Ahmad from Indianapolis. He says, I want to force overlapping forms to resize to the largest size inside of msaccess. Because if I close the form and reopen it, it becomes small. How can I force it to become the largest every time? It should be every time. I just copy and paste these folks. You got typos. They're making the videos. Sorry, Ahmad. Sometimes I'll fix it if I notice it. I didn't catch that one. The answer is, if you want to, when you open a form, if you want to have it maximize itself inside of Access, just issue a Docmd.Maximize command, one line of VBA code. Put it in the onOpen event for the form. All right, if you don't know how to use an onOpen event, I cover that in, let me look at my outline here, Access Developer 1. There's a link there. You can put it in the Docmd.Open form, too. If you're using Docmd.Open form from like another form, like a button, you could do a Docmd.Open form and then a Docmd.Maximize. And then we'll open the form and immediately maximize it. Or you can put it in the forms onOpen event or onLoad event. Any of those things will work. There is, unfortunately, no setting in the form itself without using VBA to maximize the form. And I hate the tabbed interface. It gives you the look and feel of having, everything's a full screen. But sometimes I want side-by-side forms. I don't like that tabbed view. I like overlapping forms, traditional Windows forms. Next up, Brent via YouTube. You should change the name of your Quick Queries videos to make it sound like you're teaching about queries. No. I like Quick Queries. It's a double entendre, it's a double play on words. Right? Queries are queries in Access, but they're also queries like questions. So, plus I'm a huge fan, as I think I've said this before, I'm a huge fan of Neil deGrasse Tyson and Star Talk, and he does a thing called Cosmic Queries. So I like this is Quick Queries, it's Access. So I like it, Brent. Too bad. I'm not changing it for you. You didn't even ask nicely. You shouted at me. All right, who's next? Next up, Aslam from YouTube. Great new idea, and I love to watch these TechHelp Quick Queries. See, Brent, people like Quick Queries, so I'm leaving the name. I'm designing a database for an automobile trading house. We have automobiles as products, and their chassis numbers are universally unique. Chassis numbers consist of a code, and after a dash, it's variable numeric number. Codes are universally allotted unique for that particular automobile series. For example, NZE121-XXXXX is a Toyota Corolla. But at the same time, that may also be a Toyota Corolla. Okay. Suggest me if I make this chassis number as primary key in my purchase and sale table, or should I create an auto-numbering primary key as you often suggest? You answered the question yourself, Aslam. I like primary keys to be auto numbers. Sometimes if I take the time to actually reply, because I replied to Aslam in the YouTube comments. So this is if I actually take the time to type it out, I'll put it here. I always use auto numbers as primary keys. They're just better for Access to handle internal relationships with. By all means, add your value as a key field too. You can put your special custom number, whatever that is, in your table. Keep that there. You can index it. You can make it duplicate or no duplicate. You can make it a key field. But I like to use auto numbers for the relationships internally to track unique items that way and for relationships. There's a link right there. Go watch my auto numbers video. It's a good long video where I give the arguments for and against using auto numbers. I know lots of people, other database developers, they'll argue with me. You don't always have to use an auto number. Well, no, you don't. You can use natural keys if you want to, but I believe, in my personal opinion, and I present all of the facts as to why in that video there. So go watch that. So yes, Aslam, I would make a second field. That's your auto number. That's an ID for your internal relationships, and then you can keep whatever other numberings that you have for those part numbers. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, many databases you do that in. If you get products, I used to sell computer parts, and I would have the vendor product number in there as well as my ID. Okay. Next up, Richard from Detroit, Michigan. Richard, cool name. I like it. Like it a lot. Richard says he's got a database on his home computer, and when he goes to work, he wants to continue working on that same database. The only solution he has right now is a USB memory stick. There's a lot of things you can do. I've actually got an article on my website that I will post. I'll put a link up to it. Now, people ask me this a lot. Copying your database back and forth. Okay, so it all depends on how big the database file is and what kind of internet speeds you have. Since you are the only user, and you don't have to share it with other people, okay, you could use a cloud backup solution like Google Backup, Google Drive, for example. They've got a backup and sync utility, Dropbox, OneDrive, etc., to copy the file back and forth. If the database is relatively small and your internet speed is decent, this might work for you. Okay? This is not a good solution, though, if you share the database with other people. In that case, see my Access on the Web page, which I'll put links to this stuff down below. Google Backup and Sync I cover in my new PC setup video. That's on the website. I'll put a link to that down below, too. And then Access on the Web talks about other kinds of solutions. Now, I used to do this myself for a time, because I used to have an actual office outside my house, and I had about a half an hour commute. I was the only person working on the database, so I had everything so it backed up using the Google Drive backup. I had pretty decent internet speeds at the office and at the house. So if I finished working in the office, okay, and I put the database file in the Google backup drive, by the time I got home, it's synced up, okay, because there's a half an hour there. But again, this only works if you are the only person, all right? Everything you put in your Google Drive shared folder will show up on both systems. Now, if your database is small enough and your internet speed is fast enough and your commute time is long enough, a lot of variables, I know, then by the time you go from the office to the home, your file should have synced up. If you got a 100 megabyte file, gigabit internet, 20-minute commute, you're good. Okay? I suggest copying the file out of your Google Drive folder to your desktop or wherever to work on it, because Google will keep trying to sync it while it's open. All right, so what I would do is you got your Google Drive backup folder, right? You take your database file, you copy it on your desktop, work on it, make your changes, do whatever you're going to do. And then when you're done, put it back in the Google Drive folder, and then Google will sync it. Don't work out of that folder. Don't open the database up while it's in that Google Drive folder, because Google's going to keep trying to copy it. And if it's open, it's going to either not copy it right or get it corrupted or whatever. And again, this only works with small databases. Okay? Which, I mean, most of the time, if you got like a small contact customer database solution, whatever, that's okay. You know, if you got a big database, then you should look into some other solutions, like the stuff I cover in my Access on the Web. Okay. Yeah, and when you're done, copy it back. Optionally, rename it so you've got 3 or 4 copies, rotating backups, and so on and so forth. And I didn't update the AutoNumbers link right there, did I? All right, let me fix that. Hold on. There's the link for the new PC setup where I talk about using Google Drive. Okay. And there's the link to my Access on the web, where I talk about different solutions for using a database, a Microsoft Access database on the web. There's lots of different solutions. Go check those pages out. I'll put links down below in the link section so you can click on them. I just put them in the video in case people are watching this and they can't see the comments down below the video or whatever. Okay? Okay. Next up, Alan from YouTube. How can I rename a database I've created? You know, sometimes I don't think to answer the most basic questions because I just assume people using Access know things like basic file management. However, Access doesn't give you an easy way to rename the Accdb database file. So close it, go to the folder where you have it saved with Windows Explorer, and then rename the file. Let me show you real quick. Most people, when you're working with like Word or Excel or Notepad or whatever, you get files, right? You save your files. Well, when you create a database in Access, you don't always know where it is. So let's say I created a database here. Here's my ABCD folder. Let me open this up. All right. Here's the database right there. All right. ABCD core 32-bit, whatever. All right. Accdb. Now, if you don't see file extensions in there, you can go turn those on. That's a whole separate lesson, though. That's a Windows thing. All right. But you should see the file extensions. Right? All you do is come in here, just click on it, and type in a different name. That's it. All right? Unless you've got your database linked to a backend, then you don't really have to worry too much about what that file name is. It can be whatever you want. It's meaningless to the actual operation of the database itself. And if you know how to create backend linked tables, then you probably know how to rename your file. Okay? Hope that answers your question. And yeah, I'm not very good about changing this link. I think I'm just going to get rid of this unless I need it. Let me just move this out of here. Right? Why keep it there? I keep messing up. I'll bring it in if I need it. I don't need it on every slide. Next up, how do you record your videos? I actually get asked this a lot, so I decided to include it here. Lots of people ask me. Nothing fancy. I use a program called Bandicam for the screen capture recording. I use Bandicut to piece the pieces together. So I'll record in short segments, right? Like 10, 15, maybe 30 seconds at a time. I'll pause. Like there, I just paused. Because if I goof or I sneeze or there's a noise in the background or whatever, I don't want to lose a huge thing. You can go back in and edit it using Bandicut and like snip out a piece. Like you can cut pieces out and paste them around. For me, it's easier just to record short segments and pause liberally, and then if I goof, I'll just re-record that segment. I almost never go back and edit something, but that's why I like the TechHelp videos and I like my advanced like developer videos, because if I goof, I just leave it, and because I want my advanced students to see my goofs. I want you to see, because if I make that mistake, chances are you're going to make the same mistake. So I leave my mistakes in the advanced classes, whereas my beginner classes, like beginner level 1, I'm re-recording beginner level 1 right now for Access, and it takes a long time because I like to make sure the videos are perfect, or as close to perfect as possible. Mostly because, yeah, I want to look more professional, obviously, but I don't want to confuse beginner users by showing them mistakes, unless the mistake is intentional. Sometimes I'll put an intentional mistake in there. I'll be like, but wait, we want to really do it this way, because sometimes by making a mistake, you'll appreciate the right way to do something if I show you the wrong way accidentally first or intentionally first. That's more along the lines of my recording methodology. But yeah, Bandicam for the recording. Bandicut pieces together those, because I create a bunch of small videos and I piece them together. I used to have my own software years ago that I wrote to do that. What's the name of that? I used to use it was a shareware utility that I got, and I wrote my own software to use the shareware utility, and I can't remember what it was called. Anyways, we're going back. I've been using Bandicam now for the past like 5 years or so. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a good piece of software. And this is just a PowerPoint slide. All the stuff like this is just PowerPoint. Select it. Hi, there's PowerPoint. All right, so all of this type of stuff, this whole thing was done in PowerPoint. Yeah, I grabbed their logo. But anything that's not like an actual screen recording of Access or Excel or whatever I'm teaching is just a PowerPoint slide. And that's it. That's not that hard. I got a simple, $30 headset that I use for recording. I've gone through many different headsets over the years. Some were good, some were pretty crappy. I switched to a wireless headset for a while because I wanted the freedom of not being attached to a cord. But the sound quality just was crap. It wasn't very good. It was a relatively cheap wireless headset because I wanted it to be light on my head. I wear it for 6-7 hours at a time sometimes while I'm recording. And yeah, I spent the money. I got like a $300 professional quality, nice, heavy, wireless headset that sounded great, but it's just so heavy and thick on my head. I didn't like wearing it around for hours at a time. It made my ears sweat. So I've just got a light little, USB plug-in headset. It works great. This sounds good, I think, right? And I record at 720p, which is HD. It's not like 1020p, but you don't need that. I think this is big enough of a window. My older videos had smaller windows because back in the day, the video, had to be compressed a lot more. But yeah, okay, that's it. I hope that answers your question, Peter. If anyone really wants to see like a whole behind the scenes of how I actually record, let me know. I'll do something. I don't know. I didn't think that was that interesting, but a lot of people want to know because they want to make their own tutorials, and I'm happy. There's always room for more people doing tutorials, even Access tutorials. I welcome them. I watch a lot of other people's tutorials, so there's plenty of space for everybody. It's one good thing. If you have information to share, I like to share for free. I like to just put these free videos out there. I enjoy interacting with people. I like answering questions. I think even if I was independently wealthy, I'd still do this just for fun. I love Access, and I have a good time doing it. So next up, Deb from YouTube. Thank you for the video. It was just what I needed. She's talking about the how to calculate someone's age video. How can I get the calculated age to update in the table field? Well, Deb, you really don't want to. You don't want to update that date in the table because it changes constantly, right? Every time you open up that customer's record, it's going to be different. Okay? Calculate it when you need it. Do it on the fly, either directly in the form text box itself or in an underlying query. All right. However, if you do want to store it, you'll have to calculate it using an after update event when the birth date is changed and whenever the record is opened. All right. So the after update event for their date of birth and whenever that record is viewed, all right, which when you move from record to record or open up a new record, it's the on current event. You have to calculate it every time you open up the customer's record. All right. Now, I could see why you might want to store that value because it can speed up some calculations. But if you're running records with thousands and thousands of people in it, okay, it might speed things up. But generally, you want to calculate this value on the fly every time you need it. All right, because if you open it up a year from now, it's going to be different. Okay. Next up, Rajashri, Silver member. Is there any way to remove AutoNumbers in the table? Thousands of AutoNumbers got appended to the backend table. I want to remove them. I seriously wish I had a nickel for every time someone asked me about modifying, deleting, changing AutoNumbers, whatever. Delete whatever records that you don't want in your table and just move on. You don't need to worry about what those AutoNumbers are. You're not going to run out of them. There's an unlimited supply. Well, pretty much unlimited supply. All right. Realistically, you're never going to have to worry about what those AutoNumbers are. They're not for you. They're for internal use only. They're so Access can make relationships between the tables and to make sure that all the records are unique. It doesn't matter if your AutoNumber is 1 or if it's 1,000,001. Okay? But if you do want to get rid of the AutoNumbers on the end of the table, all right, let's say you got 1 to 1,000 and you delete 200 records off the end. All right? Your next record is going to be 1,001. All right? But if you compact and repair the database, you will get those numbers back. But don't rely on it. Don't worry about it. All right? Go watch my AutoNumber video that I just posted earlier. Those numbers are not for you. You shouldn't be using them for anything that a human will see. Okay? Adrian from the UK writes, I create some tables, queries, and forms in Access, and when I'm opening the main menu, Access is automatically opening a table, which I don't want. That table is assigned to a button created with the option group. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean about that. Could you help me with this issue, please? Okay, I'm not sure. I've never seen a database just open a table on its own. All right, when you open up a database, unless you've specified a startup object, which is usually a form, okay, then all you'll see is the navigation pane. There's two ways you can open stuff up when the database starts. Okay, you can either use an onOpen event, all right, in like your main menu form. Okay, so when the database itself starts, one of two things will happen. Okay. It will look for an AutoExec macro, a macro actually named AutoExec. Okay? If you don't see a macro named AutoExec, then the only other thing that will happen is that you could specify a startup form in your Access options. Okay, and I cover this in, I think, my free template, my blank template. I'll put a link to that down below. All right, and that video where I make the blank template, I show you how to create a startup form. I create a main menu form that you can put buttons on and stuff. Okay, so if you don't have an AutoExec macro, look in your startup form, whatever that startup form is. If there's some code or another macro in there to open up a table, then that's what's causing it. Otherwise, I can't think of any reason why a table would start up with your database automatically. So you're saying the database just opens and there's a table. All right, something's got to be calling it. Access doesn't normally behave that way. Okay, and I need to see more. I need to see a screenshot or something of what's happening, or a copy of your database, which I normally don't accept database submissions, but you could send me a screenshot. Okay? Okay, this next one's a good one. Russ from Webster, Minnesota. Why is it every time I make a query, it will display all fields in the table and not just the ones I want? Did I check mark something in the settings or options area? To which I responded, did you bring down the star from the table? I'm not sure. See, one of the reasons why I like to know what level my student is, one of the reasons I added badges to my website so I could see if you're a beginner or an expert level, because I don't know how to answer the question sometimes. I don't know if you're a developer student or if you're a beginner student, so I'm just like, did you bring down the star? I didn't know if Russ knew how to make queries. Because if you bring down the star, it brings down all the fields. So that's the first thing I usually always go with the simplest solution first. And if that's not it, right, then I move on. All right, the star represents all the fields. And then, of course, Russ gets back to me. He figured it out. The show all output fields option was checked. If you're not familiar, I had completely forgotten about that option. I don't want to say I've never used it. I don't think I've ever used it in the past, 20 years. Okay, it's one of those like really hidden features that you forget about. But here, let me show you. Here's my TechHelp database. Right, open this guy up, and I just opened up a second copy of it. Let me close that one. All right, so here's a query. Right, customer last first queue. It just puts last name and first name together. Right, 2 fields in here. All right, there's the customer table. I've just used the customer ID, and then there's one calculated field. If you look in the properties for the query, open up the property sheet. All right, here's the property sheet. Click on the background here. All right, you'll see the query properties. Right there, output all fields. The default is no. If you set that to yes, then no matter what you bring into the query, if you run the query, you get everything. So he had that checked on. All right, so thanks, Ross. Thanks for reminding me that feature existed, because I don't think I've ever seen that actually used. So, okay. Okay, so that's going to do it for quick queries number 3. I got a whole ton more. I got probably, 300 more questions. They're decent little questions. They're just not good enough for like a whole TechHelp video, but I'm going to keep plugging through them. I'm going to try and do these more often. I haven't done one of these in about a month, but I'm going to try and do like 1 quick queries a week. If you guys like it, let me know. Post a message, post a comment, talk to me. Tell me if you like these or not. They're nice and simple and quick and easy to knock out. All right. I'll see you guys next time. How do you become a member? Click the join button below the video. After you click the join button, you'll see a list of all the different types of membership levels that are available. Silver members and up will get access to all of the extended cut TechHelp videos, live video and chat sessions, and more. Gold members get access to a download folder containing all the sample databases that I build in my TechHelp videos, plus my code vault where I keep tons of different functions that I use. Platinum members get all of the previous perks plus access to my full beginner courses and some of my expert courses. These are the full-length courses found on my website, and not just for Access. I also teach Word, Excel, Visual Basic, ASP, and lots more. But don't worry, these free TechHelp videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and feel free to post any comments that you have. I do read them all. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free, and click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Click on the Show More link below the video to find additional resources and links. You'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted, so if you'd like to get an email every time I post a new video, click on the link to join my mailing list. Now, if you have not yet tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of building databases with Access. It's over 3 hours long. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. And if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. And it's also free for all members of my YouTube channel at any level. Want to have your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my TechHelp page and you can send me your question there. Click here to watch my free Access Beginner Level 1 course, more of my TechHelp videos, or to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching this video from AccessLearningZone.com.